Why does debt increase stress? And why does it quietly reshape human behavior long before it destroys finances? Debt is not merely a financial obligation. It is a psychological weight that follows the mind everywhere, influencing how people think, how they sleep, how they work, and even how they imagine their future. Historically, debt has existed for thousands of years. From ancient Mesopotamia, where clay tablets recorded loans of grain and silver, to modern credit cards and digital loans. Yet the human brain has never evolved to process long-term, abstract obligations without emotional cost. When a person takes on debt, the brain does not register it as a neutral number. It interprets it as an unresolved threat. Modern research in psychology and neuroscience shows that debt activates the same stress response systems as physical danger. It triggers cortisol release, increases anxiety, and reduces cognitive flexibility. This is why people in debt often report constant mental pressure, even when no payment is immediately due. The mind keeps revisiting the obligation, because debt represents an unfinished story, an open loop that the brain feels compelled to close. Economically, debt binds the future to the past. It forces tomorrow's labor to pay for yesterday's decisions. And this loss of perceived control is one of the strongest drivers of stress identified in behavioral science. Studies referenced in public research institutions and summarized in sources like Wikipedia show that individuals with high debt are more likely to experience depression, sleep disorders, and chronic anxiety, regardless of income level. This happens because debt narrows attention. As financial pressure increases, the brain enters a scarcity mindset. It focuses obsessively on immediate survival concerns, while long-term planning, creativity, and emotional regulation weaken. This explains why debt does not only affect bank accounts. It affects decision-making, relationships, and self-worth. People begin to associate their value with their financial position, turning debt into a silent identity crisis. Socially, debt carries stigma. In many cultures, owing money is linked with shame, failure, or loss of honor, even though modern economic systems are built on borrowing. This contradiction deepens stress, because individuals feel trapped between a system that encourages debt and a society that quietly judges it. Historically, debt has also been used as a tool of control. From ancient debt bondage to modern wage dependency, debt creates obedience by limiting choices. When someone is heavily indebted, risk-taking decreases, freedom shrinks, and fear of loss begins to dominate behavior. This psychological pressure explains why debt stress often persists even when income rises, because the mind remembers vulnerability. Biologically, prolonged debt-related stress keeps the nervous system in a constant state of alert. It damages immune function, increases blood pressure, and accelerates burnout. Economists describe debt as leverage, but the human brain experiences it as exposure. Every bill, every interest rate change, every reminder notification reinforces the feeling that something is chasing you. The unpredictability of debt, especially variable interest, inflation, or unstable income, intensifies this effect, because uncertainty is more stressful to the brain than known hardship. This is why people often feel calmer facing a fixed hardship than an unclear financial future. On a societal level, debt-driven stress shapes entire economies. Consumer debt fuels growth, but it also creates populations that are anxious, overworked, and mentally exhausted. Governments understand this dynamic, which is why debt is normalized, extended, and rolled over rather than resolved. The system depends on people continuing to function under manageable stress. Psychologically, hope declines when debt feels permanent. Humans can tolerate pain if they see an end, but long-term debt removes the finish line. This is why student debt, medical debt, and generational debt cause deep emotional exhaustion. They suggest that effort may never be enough. Stress increases further when debt interferes with basic needs, forcing people to choose between dignity and survival. Even the anticipation of debt causes stress. Research shows that worrying about future payments produces anxiety levels similar to actual financial loss. This explains why people avoid opening bills, checking balances, or discussing finances, reinforcing a cycle of avoidance and fear. Debt also disrupts relationships. It introduces power imbalances, resentment, and secrecy, Couples argue not only about money, but about what debt represents: trust, security, and a shared future. Children growing up in indebted households absorb this tension silently, shaping their emotional development and risk perception. At a deeper level, debt stress comes from the collision between biological instincts and artificial systems. Humans evolved in environments where threats were immediate and resolvable. Debt, however, is invisible, abstract, and long-lasting, keeping the brain in a state of unresolved alert. This mismatch creates chronic stress. Even when debt is manageable on paper, emotionally it rarely feels resolved. The longer debt lasts, the more it becomes part of identity, shaping choices, limiting dreams, and quietly rewriting what feels possible. In the end, debt increases stress not because people are weak, but because debt is designed in a way the human mind was never meant to carry lightly. It binds time, fear, and obligation together, turning numbers into pressure, and pressure into a constant psychological burden. A burden that follows people long after the purchase is forgotten, making debt not just an economic condition, but a deeply human experience. To support and encourage our work, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.